There are a bunch of things that happen in this workshop. One is process and one is product. You get a product at the end, but it's also this 3 days that you're spending. This whole first day is really about thinking about your story and getting the ingredients for your story together. Part of my job is to get people down to those unique stories that they have, and oftentimes those are encapsulated in small moments. Because if we just tell the big story, all of our stories are kind of the same.
I think it went beyond my imagination. It was just a fantastic experience, and I think it has probably motivated me now to pull my writing back out again and start the process again.
Personal growth within the workshop space is one of the biggest reasons why I do the work, is to be able to bear witness to that and allow that to happen. The first layer of the story circle is a way for people to share stories and get some feedback on them. Getting people to feel listened to have a space where they can be honest.
Krista was propped up on the bed, paralyzed from the neck down. I remembered how small she looked. I sat down in the chair next to her bed, and she told me how her ex-husband raped her. How he'd thrown her on the ground and broken her neck and left her there. But here's the thing. After waking up from a 10-day coma to find herself paralyzed, abused, and here in the hospital, I couldn't hear any anger in her voice. I felt a huge amount of anger toward the perpetrator building up inside me. I wondered how I could be angry when she wasn't. And it looks like I'm telling the story of, this victim who was assaulted, but it's really talking about me and how I healed through it.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm. And so if that's going to be like the thrust of your piece, then we need to kind of understand how is healing not working for you before? What was it like before this whole thing happened? Mm-hmm. You were taking your work home with you, you were attached to every single case, you were thinking, whatever. I mean, however that manifested, that would be good to know.
Yeah.
A lot of it is about people learning about their own stories, even as they tell them. Because oftentimes the stories that we tell are the ones we don't understand. And we hear the reaction that people have, and we will tell a story again and again until we get the piece of information and the type of reaction and insight from someone else that informs our own story about ourselves.
I found myself thinking, I really think what's going to happen here is that I'm going to learn about my own lived experience as a forensic nurse. And what an intriguing thing that is that have I even really sat down and thought about what this means to me, let alone share that with other people?
It was one of my earlier cases, but it was a pivotal case when I just realized that, how am I supposed to answer a question like this? I've never had anybody, including adults, ask me a question like, why did my dad kill my mom? How would I ever begin to answer that? But he's going to struggle with that the rest of his life. So I may have 3 sessions at most, for example, to plant seeds that I can help this child figure out how to start to ask the questions within himself of, so what does this mean to me? And how do I go on? Because a lot of these children go on to kill themselves and other things like that, or kill other people because the people don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Four-year-old Rashid sits across from me. He's cute in his blue jeans and bright white t-shirt, and drawing a picture with crayons of his father shooting his pregnant mother. He looks to me and asks, "Why did my dad kill my mom?" He expects me to answer that? The truth is, I somehow expect me to be able to answer that. Actually, for the first couple of years, I tried to tell children what to do and what to expect, to answer those questions, but that didn't really help.
When I look at that story now, it is a story about how Rashid, a 4-year-old boy, changed my career. And that was what it was really about, not him, but how he changed me. And that we as forensic nurses will continue to evolve if we allow ourselves to.
Paul, I'm sorry you're going to start to cry, but I am Rashid. I come from that background. I am the 10-year-old girl who asked, why did Daddy kill Mommy? And nobody's been able to answer the question. Hold on.
We're having a moment
We're
here.
having a moment. This is good, though. It's a good moment. On our first outing out of the house after my mom's funeral, my grandparents took my 5-year-old sister and me to a pancake dinner at a local fire station. We had just moved there. As we entered the fire hall in this small town, I could feel the stares, could see the fingers pointing, and could hear the hushed whispers. I heard a lady say, "Psst, there's those girls." How do you tell people that Daddy killed Mommy? Years later, as a forensic death investigator, on what seemed like a beautiful spring day, I was called to a suicide of a young woman. There were bystanders and officers hustling around, conducting their investigation when I saw someone point and say, "There's that kid." My shame rushed back. That's when I noticed the young boy, sitting alone, cross-legged on the curb, stoic, his head hung low. I told him, "When I was your age, my mom died too, and you'll be okay."
Hearing these stories gives you a sense as to what stories anyone around you may have inside them. And seeing people as people and not as patients, not as representative of some larger group, but individuals with their own stories and own struggles, creates empathy. Hey, so congratulations, you guys.
We had preconceived notions of who we were as forensic nurses. And I think this gave us all an opportunity to reevaluate who we are as people, and then we get to take those skills and put it into our nursing practice and our forensic nursing practice.
There's that fear of looking like you're not strong enough to be able to do your job or strong enough to handle certain situations, and because of this process, you realize that you actually become stronger by letting it out and expressing it.
We really do sometimes come at this with a cerebral attachment. Digital storytelling is really about getting underneath of that surface